Good morning, welcome to Carra. This is a property that's in the Shire of Victoria Plains, on the Old Plains district, and first of all I would just like to acknowledge that we stand on stolen ground. We view ourselves as custodians, and our aim is to improve this patch of land and leave it better than when we got it by enhancing the biodiversity. So one of the ways that we've been trying to enhance the biodiversity, improve the paddocks, which is basically improving the soil, we view it as an important basis for making our farm more resilient as we go into the future. Someone asked me the other day, what did I grow? And I said, I'm growing soil and forage. So luckily he knew what I was on about, so that's good. So we're going to be making a compost tea. I'm going to be making it in what is called a flow form, which is a biodynamic piece of equipment, but you can make it in a bucket, you can make it in an IBC, and I'll show you what we've used for brewing or making a compost tea in an IBC later on. So first of all, you have a compost tea bag. It's a fine mesh. This one we actually bought. There are probably more suppliers of them now, but you just need something that allows water and air to penetrate while keeping most of the solids within the bag because it's easier on the pump. Starting off, most important thing, compost. Old wood chips, because that gives you your fungal species, and those are quite old wood chips, about 9 years old, and it holds together because of the fungal hyphae. Seaweed, wood ash, kangaroo pellets. Fresh ones are good. I couldn't find that many fresh ones. Cow pat, they're the best composters of all. Some milk powder, soil from a good paddock, soil from bushland. You don't need loads of this, it's all just a bit. It's about getting the biodiversity in compost, biodiversity in the soil. Molasses to feed the microbes while they're multiplying, some yogurt that I had left over, some fish extract, and some worm extract. The people that I have learned from have been various workshops. Christine Jones, the most sensational woman I've ever heard talk. She's just fantastic. Nicole Masters, Secrets of the Soil. Nutritech Solutions, Graham Sate, learnt a lot from his workshop on Friday. Two Americans, Gabe Brown and Gary Zimmer. And then another book, Soil Health, Soil Biology. All right, so making the compost tea. A fairly big handful of compost. There are some worms in there. Sorry, sacrificial worms. Big handful of that. And according to Nicole Masters, you don't need a heap of everything, just a cupful. So there goes in the wood chips, seaweed, wood ash, rue pellets. It's it's probably about 5 days old, that cow pat. Milk powder. Probably won't put a whole load of this soil in, just a little bit. The stuff from the soil, or its leaf litter almost, I'm wanting that for the natural microbes that are existing on this farm anyway. I'll add the molasses once I'm over there being by the flow form, a bit of yogurt, and it does get a bit messy, but the great thing is, it doesn't harm you. Not suited up in hazmat. Just don't put your fingers in your mouth. All right, now we will head over to the flow form. This is a biodynamic flow form. Don't need one of these in order to make compost tea, but we had one, so therefore we use it. The water gets pumped up to the top, and because of the design of the bowls, it flows in a figure of 8, and this allows the
water to become oxygenated and also gives it energy, therefore allowing the microbes to multiply. With the water, I have actually added some hot water to it because Graham State says it's better if it is slightly warm for the microbes. It is, yeah, it's not really cold or really hot, but it's just there. Now I add the molasses into the compost tea bag because otherwise it does have a tendency to go a bit gloopy down the bottom. Very technical term, that, gloop. If you were doing it in a bigger quantity, you might want to mix it into some warm water first and then add it to your brew. It just does help a bit. Right, just then put the bag on and let it brew, really. Once that's going, the water will be going through it, aerating it, and actually just acting like a compost tea. I mean, like a tea, like brewing a cup of tea. Then you add your fish emulsion. You can get this from Marine Solutions. Yep, it does. Oh, probably should shake that a bit up. It does get a little bit stinky at this stage. If you've got dogs, this is when they come and love having a drink of compost tea. And then some worm juice. Yes, just a bit stinky. Worm juice from the worm shed down in Chittering. You can buy it in bulk quantities. If you take your own IBC, he will fill it up for you, which is really good. And then just letting it brew. Grain State does say that you can let it brew for up to 24 hours. The longer you brew it, the more likely you'll get a fungal dominated brew, but you might need to add some food for the fungal spores, something like cellulose, wood chips, maybe something, straw perhaps. Not 100% sure on that one. So really it's just letting it flow through. I do like to check it, swoosh it around a bit like you would a tea bag, and maybe give it a bit of a massage to break up any of the lumpy bits, because sometimes it can all just clump together, and then at least you know the water's flowing through all the various different components that you've got, especially the molasses. And yeah, there's the pump that we use, just a submersible pump with a shut off switch. Very handy. You use it then to pump out into your receptacle. Yeah, a bit stinky. However, no hazmat required. So we would let this brew for at least an hour. You can let it brew for longer, just really depending on what your schedule is. When we were doing it in IBCs, we did let it brew for about 24 hours. Once this is finished, we'll pump it into a 3,000 litre water tank. This is about, 150 litres, 200, something like that. And then we will spray it out onto the paddocks. You can spray it onto plants or soil. We go through a flood jet because the water can protect the microbes a bit, because they are waterborne waterborne organisms. We would also do it in the late afternoon, evening. On a misty day is ideal because then they don't get scorched by the sun. It's very much a thing that we do to enhance our soil biology. The microbes in this compost tea won't be the same as the microbes in the soil. However, it will act as a stimulant. And it's a way of improving our soil and the forage for the cattle through a low input thing. We have actually made our own compost in the past, and all of these are locally sourced inputs and much less costly than some of the other ones. And we can make it on farm, so it suits us when we need to make it, or into whatever the weather's doing and something like that. The longer you brew it, the more fungal you'll get.